In July 2026, central Delhi exploded into chaos. Thousands of students surged into high-security zones, crashing against heavy metal barricades to protest leaked papers for the National Medical Entrance Exam, NEET. What began as a call for educational accountability rapidly escalated. Protesters pelted stones, destroyed public property, and pushed aggressively toward Parliament. The resulting physical clashes left dozens of students and over 130 police personnel with severe injuries. But as security forces tried to manage the crowds, they noticed a critical digital anomaly. The organizers weren't relying on standard internet tools like WhatsApp. They were actively deploying decentralized, military-grade Bluetooth messaging apps like BitChat to coordinate their movements. This diagram shows exactly how a Bluetooth mesh network operates. Unlike normal messaging that relies on a central cell tower, a mesh app allows phones to pass data directly from one device to the next over short distances. This bypasses cellular networks and state telecom jammers, allowing agitators to secretly redirect mobs in real time. The sophistication of these tactics raises immediate questions, especially given the selective nature of the outrage. When identical exam leaks occur in states controlled by allied opposition parties, like Punjab or Karnataka, these same student organizations remain silent. The combination of specialized cyber tools and targeted political timing suggests a level of professional planning that moves the event into a much more tactical category of urban disruption. Sustaining a sprawling, violent encampment in a national capital requires massive logistical and financial infrastructure. Intelligence reports indicate this backing frequently flows through non-governmental organizations registered under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or FCRA, which allows them to legally import overseas money. Declassified intelligence documents show that major international foundations often provide a plausible cover to quietly finance foreign political movements. By masking these cash flows as grants for civil rights or environmental causes, global capital can directly subsidize domestic unrest. The financial pipelines are only the modern engine. The ideological groundwork for this unrest was laid decades ago, specifically during Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's emergency in the mid-1970s. Facing intense political pressure to retain power, Gandhi's administration made a crucial compromise. In exchange for the political backing of communist parties, her government handed over structural control of India's central universities and historical research councils to far-left intellectuals. Premier institutions like Jawaharlal Nehru University were packed with Marxist faculty members. They systematically rewrote school textbooks and shaped a curriculum designed to convince young Indians that their native civilizational heritage was a history of oppression. Former KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov systematically documented this process, calling it demoralization. He observed that it takes 15 to 20 years, the lifespan of a single student generation, to condition youth into abandoning loyalty to their country and traditions in favor of radical extra-constitutional upheaval. The young people hurling stones at police barricades today are the direct end product of this 50-year academic pipeline. They have been trained to prioritize performative social media outrage and a sense of victimhood over civic responsibility. If you listen to the protest organizers, their justification for the street violence is highly specific. They claim the current elected Indian government is an authoritarian regime that must be overthrown. Yet the activist networks and intellectual mentors driving this movement are fiercely devoted to a different framework entirely: Marxism and communism. This chart compares the human cost of modern political ideologies. Communist regimes are statistically responsible for more mass death and engineered starvation than any other system. On a macro level, this utopian vision left tens of millions dead under Mao Zedong and Joseph Stalin, and we see it on a micro level in smaller nations like Cambodia, where the absolute eradication of dissent resulted in fields of mass graves, and sites like this one, where executioners murdered children against a tree. The historical record is completely detached from the rhetoric on the street. The Marxist ideals these organizers romanticize reliably culminate in the methodical destruction of free speech, human rights, and human life, which brings us back to the streets of Delhi. We have to look at how a constitutional democracy actually resolves an administrative crisis versus how these manufactured protests operate. In response to the NEET exam leaks, the Indian government went to Parliament and swiftly passed the Public Examinations Act. The legislation imposes massive fines and 10-year prison sentences for organized cheating, while legally mandating statutory fast-track courts to guarantee rapid trials. Administratively, they overhauled the testing agency, firing compromised officials and instituting new protocols for future exams, including extensive AI-monitored CCTV and biometric facial authentication. Contrast this structural work with the organizers on the streets. They offer zero workable policy solutions. Their only demands are the immediate resignations of ministers and the total capitulation of the state to their mob. This is the inherent danger of the street veto. If a vocal, foreign-funded minority can occupy a city center and use violence to overrule parliamentary debate and electoral outcomes, the constitutional design of the country collapses. National progress is built through the quiet, rigorous work of institutional reform. Replacing that process with organized street chaos creates a vacuum where the deadliest ideologies known to humanity can easily take hold.